Hi, everybody. It's Chrissy from Knittin in the Heights. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Vlogmas day. It's actually day 2. I didn't post anything on day 1 because I'm trying to just follow the schedule of my school when we publish our Vlogmases, but we're going to be a little behind tomorrow because I had to stay home with Gabe. Gabe has a head cold. He's been, yeah, if you know anything about kids, coffin, especially in New York City, is frowned upon post COVID. So anyway, he is home today. I'm tomorrow. He may go to work with me. He went to work with me on Monday, but as far as Thursday, he's got to go back to school. He's been out of school for a hot minute, and he doesn't have a fever. He's running around. He's giggling. He's fine. He's just got this lingering cough. So anyhow, so we're dealing with that. But I thought I'd pop on to show you some of my knitting projects pretty quickly. So I am doing an Advent knitting project this time around. So I am doing Amba O'Brien's Adventurous wrap. I've done this 3 times now. This is my 3rd one. This pattern is pretty mindless, but because you're constantly changing colors, it's actually it's beautiful. It does get a bit, as it gets bigger over time, it gets a bit to be a bit much. Now, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I've modified the pattern already because it is made for an advent calendar of 24 days. And I am using an advent calendar of 24 days. I am using the Crafty Cryptids advent calendar from Blackbird Sycamore Yarns off of Etsy. And I've really loved it so far. Let's just start with the bag that came for day 1. How pretty is this? All these fungi, so cool. And the first day of yarn that I received was this one, which is the dwarf colorway. And it came with a really cool card. I'm actually going to pull out the other cards and everything else. So it came with this really cute card. Oh, sorry, it's not dwarf, it's gnome. I bet I'm getting dwarves later, but this is gnome. And it gives a little description of the gnome, like what a gnome is and where it comes from and all that stuff. So that's really cool. So that's day 1. Day 2, which I have been using, trying to find the right color, is this one. And the colorway is Trolls. And it came with this cool card. So there's a troll. And the colors are really cool together, by the way. Really like that. The next color, day 3, I haven't wound up yet, but I plan to break into. Let's see how it's kind of fading. Can you guys see that? It's hard to show. Let's see if I can move my hand out of the way. There we go. It's kind of tricky, but you guys get the idea. There we go. That one is the barnacle tree. And I've never heard of this kind of folkloric myth. It's really cool. So the barnacle tree is an ancient myth dating back to the Middle Ages in Europe, as well as earlier Greece and Rome. The tree is said to be part of the reproductive cycle of the barnacle goose and the brant goose. The myth is that the geese emerge from the barnacles on the tree, not eggs. So that's really cool. Really fun. Nice to learn some new folklore. The colors are really cool. It's more muted in real life. My camera is like brightening it up, but it's a little bit more muted, at least in my apartment with the yellow light I got going overhead. So I am modifying this pattern because it's made for 24 days and it does have you knit in 2 halves. So what I'm doing right now is I'm actually knitting both halves identical. I might change that later. But as of right now, so far, I've done everything the same. So this is half number 1. This yarn at first, the first yarn that I used, I actually pulled from my Lay Family Yarns Advent calendar. I had leftovers from this. Comes from my Timely cardigan. So yeah, so I am really happy to be able to utilize that yarn. It's really pretty. You do need to come back to color 1 again, and it's fairly neutral, but it has a lot of the flecks that were in the day 1 yarn, and I wanted to really get started on day 1. So anyhow, so this is where I'm at. So the first 2 days are in. The first half, the second half, I am coming to the point where I'm getting, I'll be there pretty soon. So yeah, so I'm working on that. And yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to keep up. We'll see. Over weekends, I might be able to. The other two yarn advent calendars I have right now are both really beautiful. Okay, one is from the Maple and Barley shop on Etsy, and it's Zodiac theme yarn. And what was really cool about this, at first it came with this like super cool, super cute bag that is Zodiac themed. It's good for a sock size project. I'm gonna probably have to transfer the things that are in this bag into a larger bag soon because I don't think I'm gonna be able to keep them. But inside, it's also got Zodiac fabric. It's really cool, really sweet. And it came with a main skein. And the main skein was actually based on your zodiac. So I'm a Cancer because my birthday's in July, early July. So this was my color. I don't know if the Cancer color is this color because I haven't gotten to it. That's tomorrow's. So we'll find out. If it's the same, cool. If not, cooler. So far I've opened Aries, Taurus, which I really like Taurus. I think that's super cool. And Gemini. It's like a lemony lime. So yeah, we'll see what Cancers brings. I don't know that I will do, and looking at the colors, I don't think I'll do this as a project together. I think these yarns, some of them, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to make with them. They're just going to live and I'll figure different projects out with them, I think. The next one, I am going to try to figure out a project to do with it because it is a fade. And this is the Nutcracker advent calendar, and it's by Gem State Yarns. And I'm keeping it in a So Sweet Violet bag right now that I've had for many years. So sad to see she's going out of business, actually. But I totally understand. All right. This also came with the Progress Keeper. They all had some really cool, sweet, like different kinds of treats too, by the way. Like the Zodiac one came with a candle that was for your Zodiac sign. And yeah, like they were in the crafty cryptids. They were definitely like sweet treats and teas and things like that. So definitely been really enjoying opening them because it's like lots of little presents. Okay, so this is based on the Nutcracker Ballet, and it's based on different characters. So the first one was Bonbons, which is a really pretty one. The second one was Spanish Chocolate, lovely fade, and very similar speckling. And so I'm wondering if this is going to microstripe, not sure. And the final one, the third day, which I really like, is the Mouse King. So I think this will make a really cool faded something or other. I wonder too if it's like, do I do faded socks? I was thinking about that actually. If I should just do some like a couple pairs, because I'm gonna have tons of yarn of faded socks and find like a contrast mini somewhere in my stash or from the Zodiac theme advent to make like different like heels, cuffs, and toes. I don't know. So we shall see. But or it could make a really cool shawl where it just kind of fades. Or I was even thinking like a tee. This is a 12-day, both this and the this one and the Zodiac one are 12-day ones, which is absolutely great and fine. I am leaving for Virginia, and I know about myself that I tend to peter out on advents. And so having one advent that I'm going through the entire 24 days feels really manageable. But having lots of them, I kind of like when I have 24, like multiple 24-day ones, it's a bit overwhelming. But I like that first 12 days. So that's good. It's right around the 12th day I start to go, this is a lot of stuff. Well, you would have just seen a cut because I had to gather some things. Again, if you can hear Gabe in the background, I'm really sorry about that. So let me give you a little update on where my knitting projects have been. I have like 3 pretty active works in progress. I have, as if you've been watching my podcast for a while, I have been really trying to finish stuff. And my knitting mojo has been pretty minimal until I started the Advent stuff because and I did cast on a couple of things over Thanksgiving weekend. And it's like I have like 4 or 5 works in progress right now, like, or did before this. And like some of them are like long-term projects. Like I had the Battenberg blanket, which I have no idea when I'm getting back to because I do not want to risk tendonitis. Yeah, I had basically four works in progress. And like they're the kind of thing I can pick up and put down, sort of. So let's take a look at the work in progress that I was focusing most of my energy on. And I have done quite a bit of work on it. So I picked back up the Twists and Turns, the Stephen West MCAL from 2022. And I finally got through the first section. Very happy about that. Let me see what's going on with my knitting here. It looks like I tried to lock the cable in so that I wouldn't lose stitches on one of the ends because I have finished one wing and I'm working on the second wing. And so this is coming, it's way further than it was, you guys, because I was like just over halfway through section A. So I did finally get through that. And then once I got to the wings, it started moving a lot faster. So this has been something that was really good. I'm putting it away for the time being, just take another little tiny break, but this will come back pretty soon. The yarns I'm using in this are the kind of like charcoal gray, the darkest gray. It's almost black. It is Ash by a Homespun House in her Plum Merino. I have Come On Eileen is kind of this chartreuse color here. It's like a yellowy green, but like on camera, it looks more yellow than green. Then the gray, it actually has a silver stellina and it has little pops of that chartreuse through it. It's called These Days. And those are both by Craft House Magic, Elliot Craft House Magic. She actually, a few years ago, I had asked her to pick out some yarn from my kiddos, so it'd be a surprise to me. And she sent me this beautiful box of yarn. I told her, here's how much I can spend. And so she did. It was great. That was a great way to do it, actually, because then it was all surprises. My kids were so young and they weren't able to do that themselves. They still kind of wouldn't do that themselves. I'm good on yarn right now, though. I have a lot of yarn. So the next thing I picked up, I took a look in my stash, and there is I was thinking about wanting to make something for Colleen, my daughter, because she is knitworthy. And she really is a fan of like tank tops and things that aren't close fitting. And I'm a fan of that only in knitting for her because, yeah, I don't want to spend a ton of time knitting something, one, that she may grow out of, and two, that she may not take too much care of. But I had a lot of leftovers from my the stroll fingering that I use in the Timely cardigan, which is this color. It's the colorway is Frost. And I had a way more than I ever anticipated. So I found this tank top from Dragon Horde Yarns, and it's the Dryad tank top. So I'm going to be knitting this. It is a ribbed tank top. It's really cute. It has a keyhole back, and part of the design is that you knit like a strap that goes around the neck, and you can knit a bow tie kind of thing, where it goes around and then it ties with a bow. So I'm using a mini skein that I got in an Advent 20, could have been in 2020 or probably was 2020. It's a Stellina base. I believe it is Dandelion and Dogwood. I have no idea what color it is. But Colleen really loves blues, specifically baby blues. And so I thought these together would make a really pretty little tank top for her. So there's no deadline on this, although if I get it ready for her birthday in April, that would be wonderful. So this is the point. This is the end of the tie, and then this is where the first like loop of the bow is. So yeah, so this is actually pretty enjoyable and pretty easy to knit. I'm learning some really interesting construction techniques and doing this bow. So that's cool. I really enjoy that, and I can just do it on 2 double points. I mean, this is actually cool subway knitting. I haven't taken on the subway yet. I've taken my other project that I'll just show you, taken that on the subway, and I've taken the shawl, my Advent shawl, on the subway. Okay, and then the final one, the pièce de résistance. This one is actually really cool. So I have been yearning to make myself a sweater. I've been on this weight loss journey. I've lost 25 pounds thereabout since July. And like my sweaters all fit, they're just real baggy. And I'm like, okay, well, if I can knit a smaller sweater, then it takes a lot less time. So right now I'm starting a colorwork sweater. It's called the Sweater of Swords. It is by Dear Ingenue. And it's this really cool colorwork pattern that basically it is based on the swords from the tarot deck. And it has this beautiful story that talks about it. So this is kind of how far I've gotten. So we're in the colorwork and it's really cool. I have been using yarn that the main color is this really beautiful teal color. It's called Reflecting Pool and it's by Malabrigo. It's Malabrigo yarn sock. And the other yarn I actually got last Christmas season when I was doing shopping down in Brooklyn. Here it is. It is a one of a kind from Wool Met Verve, and it is so pretty. It just is such a pretty colorway, and it's gonna pop with this. So I am, really enjoying it. I did have to restart the thing once because I ended up like looking at the wrong thing. I mean, the thing that was so crazy, it's a circular yoke that has all of these like increases all the time and stuff. And I was like, well, could just increase later. And I was talking to Josh, and Josh was like, no, I just start over. So I started over to find out I could have just increased or decreased or not done as many increases later. It was more the math of it that was a little bit wacky because I ended up having to fudge it later. So it was fine. Once I got into the color work though, I was right on schedule. So yeah, so those are my projects I've been working on. So what you're going to see now, I'm going to pop on some highlights from our faculty recital at Tertiary School for Music and Art that we just had a few weeks ago. And yeah, and that's what we're going to do. And tomorrow I'll come back with some more holiday kinds of goodness from Tertiary School. I hope you guys have a great night. See you later. Bye.